What kind of leafy tree is sitting beside us?
I Dollarama's finest is what it is.
Excuse me.
Sorry, IKEA?
That is a West Elm, honey.
You bought a fake thing from West
Next
Elm?
question.
That's absurd.
Goodbye.
That is absurd.
It was on sale.
I don't care. The amount that you spend is still way too much on a fake plant.
This isn't therapy. This is not therapy. This is not therapy. This is not therapy. This isn't therapy.
Hello.
Hello, hi, and welcome back to another fun,
Flirty
fabulous
episode
of This Isn't Therapy. There's my camera.
To the camera.
The podcast about all the stuff people are talking to their therapists about. My name is Jake Ernst, and I'm a therapist. Who are you?
My name is Simon Palick, and I am a director. Whoa.
That's important. Let's
Because-
stop.
No. We have
there.
to keep going. We have to keep going to the intro train.
I want us. Okay, fine.
Because Jakey and I, even though we have two different professions,
Holy.
we are two fun, flirty fab friends who like to gather here on this here therapy couch. On each week on this podcast, we take back the therapy curtain. We pull it back. We put on our grubby little paws. We reach into the therapy space. We pull out a theme, a factoid, a question, a query, or even just something that's floating around in the culture. And then we bring it here to the pod and have a casual Kelly Couch conversation about it. Why?
Well, it's because therapy themes are everywhere you look.
That's right. That's right. You're always saying that.
No matter where you look,
No matter.
I sometimes feel as though you
Yeah.
could find a therapy theme.
Absolutely.
Anyway, speaking of speaking,
Speaking of speaking.
today we are going to be talking about two therapy themes that are on our personal radars.
Yeah.
I think a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is Sycophantic AI? Question mark?
I have questions.
I have thoughts, comments, and
I'm
concerns.
assuming you'll tell us what that is in the first segment.
100%.
Okay. I'm actually
And
like,
then in the second segment, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, long pausecast moment there.
no. Mm-hmm.
In the second segment, we're going to talk about documentaries.
Yes.
And maybe specifically why we love them
Mm-hmm.
and why we're drawn into them.
Yes.
And maybe I'm really hoping that you can kind of give us some background
I
into
sure
why
can.
you think
I sure can.
they keep us hooked
Yeah.
or drawn in.
I'm really excited about that as
Yeah.
the resident director in our This Isn't Therapy commune.
Yeah, it's a good conversation.
I am excited to dive in. And I think I'll also maybe provide some POV as to what actually goes in behind the scenes, like from the director's chair, as to what we do in preparation when we're interviewing subjects.
I wish you would.
To sort of talk about like what we do so that when you see the final documentary, the byproduct of the work that's done behind the scenes is what you're actually saying. And that also aids in why we like them so much.
Say less and soon say more.
Cool.
You know?
You know?
Let's take a quick break.
Absolutely.
And when we come back, we're going to start to talk about this new sort of like AI word that we're hearing a lot.
Sycophantic.
Sycophantic. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
BRB.
BRB.
So for those who are playing on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
you will have just seen Simon do a little lip purse that I was personally jiggled by. That made my heart flutter and
I'm
my
just a little coy.
it made my tummy
Just
jiggle.
really excited.
It was really funny. Okay, so we are gonna ground this conversation
Mm-hmm.
in a article for Time Magazine
Yes.
by the queen of all queens in media,
Yeah.
Ariana Huffington.
Oh, love
100%.
Love Ariana's work.
And
Has a new album coming out.
she do.
So excited
Pedal.
for that. Yeah.
Pedal in August.
Yeah. I love that she's always just kind of like reinventing herself. Like
Yeah.
always just finding new ways to like express her, like, you know, her like the way that she flows through the world.
Exactly.
You know, she was a singer.
But speaking of
and she was
Ariana's,
on Wicked, and now she's writing articles for Time. I
now
love
she's
it.
entitled "The Problem with AI Flattering Us,"
Mm,
and again by Ariana Huffington of the Huffington Post fame.
yeah.
I want to start
And
by just
Wicked.
defining some terms here. So a sycophant is a self-seeking flatterer who acts obsequiously towards someone powerful or wealthy to gain personal advantage, often characterized as a suck-up in some spaces.
Okay.
But these individuals offer insincere praise to curry favors, acting as parasites in professional or social settings. So that is sort of the root word, sycophant. But what we're sort of noticing...
So like kiss asses?
A little bit.
Okay.
A lot of bit.
A little bit. Not like a... It's a... Mwah!
Yeah, a lot of it.
A big kiss ass.
And so I'm going to read from this article, The Problem with AI Flattering Us, and it goes like this. The most dangerous part of AI might not be the fact that it hallucinates, making up its own version of the truth, but that it ceaselessly agrees with users' version of the truth. This danger is creating a problem and a modern sycophancy crisis in which the over-agreeableness of AI is leading to very disagreeable results. It goes on to say, the AI alignment problem raises questions about how to build AI that aligns with human values. The sycophancy problem should also raise questions about how humans evolve alongside AI and make sense of our world as we do it. If we do not address this problem, the machines we're creating will just be a giant mirror to our own personal illusions. A recent study by researchers found that AI models are 50% more sycophantic than humans, and participants rated flattering responses as higher quality and wanted more of them. But it gets worse. The flattery made participants less likely to admit that they themselves were wrong, even when confronted with evidence that they were in fact wrong, and reduced their willingness to take action to repair interpersonal conflict coached by AI. This suggests that people are drawn to AI that unquestioningly validates, even as that validation risks eroding their judgment and reducing their inclination toward pro-social behavior, these researchers wrote. These preferences create perverse incentives both for people to increasingly rely on sycophantic AI models and for AI model training to favor sycophancy.
Okay, so essentially, translation, it's like a yes man.
Exactly.
So it's not challenging you. It's not providing
Yeah.
a contrary opinion or like another human being would. Instead, what it's doing is that it's defaulting to this like yes man
Yes.
type of thing.
I've done a lot of research on this for my book, my forthcoming seminal
Wait, you have a book coming out?
book that is coming out very soon, release date very shortly.
Yeah.
And
Don't spill it yet. You'll get in so much trouble.
No, I won't get in trouble. It's okay. Or maybe I would. I don't know.
You would.
Oh, right. Of course.
Yeah,
Duh.
Don't
Hello.
say it.
Hello
Don't say it.
contracts.
Yeah.
But in my book, I've been doing a lot of research in my writing process about this concept of sycophancy. And one of the big key distinctions that I want to make here, and the reason why it is such a problem, beyond just that sort of like yes man mentality, is that no human relationships look like the ones that we have with AI. And so because everything is so agreeable and yes, you're amazing, you're awesome, you're the best, there are just no relationships, or at least in my mind, healthy relationships that function that way. And so it does create this sort of retraining of our expectations for people. And it might also diminish our ability to determine like what is a healthy relationship dynamic.
Right. Because I guess if you're just always being fed that you're never wrong.
Or that you're the best, or that your ideas are amazing.
Yeah.
And so speaking of that hallucination, there have been some anecdotes, some people who have reported building really close, strong friendships and relationships with AI. And it's this sycophancy trait that keeps them hooked. Yeah. So someone that will agree with them when maybe you haven't had a lot of agreements for your ideas. And so there are some anecdotes of AI creating a more delusional level of self-focus with the people it seeks to build these relationships with, to the point where there's this one example where this guy was basically telling AI all about its theories about the universe. And so AI was just confirming, oh yeah, that sounds like a really great idea. And it ended up actually creating delusions in this person, thinking that he was the second coming of this brilliant mind that had really grand ideas, that like he had cracked the code, and that AI was in fact just confirming all this hidden information. But what we forget is that AI doesn't create new information. It just scrapes old information from the internet. Right. And so it just kind of feeds it back to you. So it's not really good at generating new ideas, but it
Mhm.
is really good at tracking patterns and
Yeah.
repackaging ideas.
So what would you say to someone who said like, oh, well, then I can just train my AI to say, don't always agree with me.
Well, yeah, you totally can do that.
But
can-
would that be a genuine form of like in a human interaction, right?
That's a good
Do
question.
you know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
you would that be an easy fix to this problem?
I think it's an easy fix for the AI models that
Mhm.
do sort of track your preferences based on what you said from previous conversations or chat histories.
Yeah.
So yes, you could put an input and say, don't include any hyper agreeable terminology. So don't call me amazing. Don't flatter me. Don't
Yeah.
say I'm the best. Don't say that was the best idea. I want you to genuinely challenge me. Yes, you can train AI models to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it still runs the risk of the opposite problem, which is that it will have a hard time distinguishing between, like in any relationship, when is an opportunity for agreement and when is an opportunity for maybe some discontention or some
Right.
disagreement.
Right.
And so AI is just not really good at taking risks. It's really good at following patterns.
Mm.
So if you tell it to do that, then it will do that all the time. So that may run the risk of like you not really having an objective or a really rational voice on the other side of that,
Yeah.
right? Because it has a hard time distinguishing between like what do you actually need,
Right.
right? Because it doesn't rely on facial cues. It doesn't rely on tone or, the emotions that we exchange between each other in an interaction.
Yeah.
It can't practice empathy.
Well,
So it can't distinguish what is really the right way forward.
right.
Quote unquote, right.
Yeah. I even noticed like I don't use I use AI like a search engine sometimes.
Yeah, same. That's the
Um,
only way that I use it.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
really use it to any other places, and I'm okay with that. Like that's just a personal choice. Like as we try to navigate the waters of this technology, but I do know that there are people in my life who use like the audio feature and talk to it, and I'm fascinated by that because when I hear it, all I hear is like a wow, that's a really good question, or yeah, that's nice. Let me tell you more about that, and I personally just have an aversion to that to begin with. Like, so I get really turned off by that being like, I don't need that.
Let's pause because I
Mm.
think I connect with something you're saying,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there's something I disagree with. So I want to kind of like pull
Yeah.
some threads away,
Yeah, pull it.
which is, and I'm not disagreeing to say you're wrong. I'm just saying I have a different POV.
Good. Well, you're not AI, so you're allowed to.
This is emotional validation,
Okay.
right? Which is good in relationship.
Right.
But I think the point that I really connect with what you're saying, I'm
Yeah.
also turned off by,
Yeah.
is that like hyper validation or
Yeah.
when you're only using emotional validation to connect with someone,
Yeah.
that's not really genuine.
Yeah, like the
connection.
in and out point,
Yeah.
especially, of course, like in relationships,
Yeah.
yes, give me the validation.
Yeah.
I just mean more in like, if I'm querying about like,
Yeah.
is the TTC running today? That's a really good question. You know what? Like, it looks like it is. And like, I don't need that,
Yeah. Yeah. And so I want to also just tag on to something you said around voice. I think that is the future.
Mm-hmm.
Voice is going to be the future of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's only a matter of time before Siri in the iPhone or our AirPods, for example,
Yeah.
they become agentic, meaning that they
Mhm.
can perform actions for us.
Yeah.
And I think voice is the first step to that, where we're getting to this new place where we're just going to start talking to our bots.
Yeah.
And there's going to be incentives to do so, which might mean that we're watching a lot less, but maybe it's not an either or, maybe it's a both and. We're going to
Mhm.
be watching in different ways. We're seeing that even trained with like new glasses models coming out,
Yeah.
but then also with voice. I think that's the future because humans are conversational and these tech companies want to exploit
Yeah.
what we need.
Are you hopeful about the future?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know we spend a lot talking about like the wear and tear that this is having on like human connection,
Yeah.
right? And how we're losing things, even just in the concepts of content. What am I saying? Context.
Yeah.
Life is hard today.
I know that word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard
Even in the context of today's conversation, it sounds like, oh yeah, if you always just have like an agreeable agentic AI or someone kind of yes manning you the whole time, it doesn't create like an inflated sense of self and like you're never challenged, right? But is there like a hopeful application of this? Like,
Ooh.
because the technology's not going anywhere, right? I almost maybe because you're catching me on a day where I feel really positive about the world, but I'm like, how can we allow this to be something that we can like coincide with us and not have it strip us away from each other?
I want to answer that question, but
Yeah.
I want to also just like think about something else,
Okay.
because I think the models are built this way because when you think about really rich people and
Like wealthy,
like
like Lisa Rinna.
yeah, not rich in life, not rich
No.
in goods and services.
Yeah.
I mean rich
Rich.
in money.
Yeah.
When wealthy create tech billionaires, let's say,
Mm.
create these models,
Yeah.
oftentimes they are in relationships with people who are yes people.
Mm.
And so I don't know if this is factual, but my guess is that I don't really know that they even had a healthy model of relationship maybe as a blueprint to begin with, right? So in a way, this is sort of an abusive relationship, right? Like I think about a relationship with a partner or a boss that you can't disagree with, that you have to say yes to all the time. That is not a healthy dynamic.
Right.
And so the reason why I am hopeful is because I think we're on to them, is that we don't need this and we don't need our AIs to interact this way.
Yeah.
I think that's a way they know to exploit or extract information from us, that if we feel like, oh, our AI's friends with us, then we're more likely to tell it stuff or go to it
Yeah.
because we know we're not going to get a bad response or a negative response.
Right.
And so what I am hopeful for is I do think that there is a world where we can be discerning about how we use AI or when we use AI. And I think that's a really important thing for that skill conversation that you talked about. It's not about eliminating technology completely. It's what we put in its place. And I think that really is a really big point I would like to drive home here, which is that it's not just about the presence of technology in our life.
Yeah.
It's about what we lose to technology and what we do when we aren't becoming so reliant on technology.
Right.
Just like you said, the human skills that we need to build social and emotional muscles with each other in the real world.
Right.
That's why, as we've said for many weeks and months now, years even, that I do think
Eons.
that eons even
Eons.
is that I do think the next chapter of this technology conversation is social media is going to be out. I'm confident that that's going to happen. We're just not going to need that and want that in the same way when over 50% of our interactions are with an AI bot, even on socials, whether that's AI created content or a creator who we don't know is real or fake.
Yeah.
I just think that we're going to retrain our eyeballs to focus on what matters. That's what I hope. That's the hopeful conversation.
Interesting.
Anyway,
I believe it.
that's sycophancy for you.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That's like a very specific layer to it. And more I'm seeing it's really tragic. You see a lot of what happens in the extreme cases when people become really, 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 really attached to their AI bots.
Yeah.
It makes me really sad.
Which does speak to a bigger problem around social AI and what gap it fills, what need it meets for people.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing too that I'm just remembering is that everyone wants a buddy,
Yeah.
right? And everyone wants someone to be able to turn to. And I think that social AI really does meet that need for a lot of people who, especially verbal processors or people who like to talk things through or talk out loud,
Yeah.
that it's just there, right? It's available 24/7
Yeah. Whenever you need it.
with really low friction.
Yeah.
And that's an attractive proposition for people.
Totally. And like even in this conversation, I'm like, oh, I'm not condemning people who have that need because that feels like a really human need. I'm just more,
Yeah.
I'm always very like, oh, these evil companies, like not to make it so obvious, but I'm just like, you're exploiting a very human need and there are just no guardrails. There's no protective measures. You know, just because a kid wants candy, you don't like feed it candy all the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah, you do.
Forget about it.
Listen, you're not giving yourself enough credit. You do know. I think that's a good take. And it's
Hi, Fig.
and things are always sort of changing. Anyway, moving on.
I like how I took this moment to take a drink. I was like, you know what?
Well, then you said hi fig, and I was like, that's not a fig, but it's fine.
What is it?
I don't know.
It's not real. I know that. I know that now. It's not real. What's her name?
Yeah, put it in the comments. What
All
kind
right,
of
what's
what kind
her
of
name?
leafy
Plant is
tree
this?
is this? What kind of leafy tree is sitting beside us?
Dollarama's finest is what it is.
Excuse me.
Sorry, IKEA?
That is a West Elm, honey.
You bought a fake thing from West
Next
Elm?
question.
That's absurd.
Goodbye.
That is absurd.
It was on sale.
I don't care. The amount that you spend is still way too much on a fake plant from West Elm.
You would hate to know how much it cost.
I'm talking about $100. Is it more or less than $100?
Oh, less. Yeah, less.
Is it more or less than $5?
What?
Yeah.
Look at the size of it. You think that's gonna be less
At
than
Dollarama it is.
No.
And it looks the same.
No, it doesn't.
You know what? I want a sponsorship
Get some
from West Elm, and I want one from Dollarama. Putting it out in the universe.
Oh my god, this is crazy.
Manifesting.
It was $60, and I thought, you know what? This tracks. This fits.
That's insane. That is the
Wait, can I tell you
worst-
also the reason why I bought it?
Why?
Okay.
Oh my god, it's gonna be this big emotional thing.
No, it's as,
Okay.
it's as
And
big.
here- am I gonna feel bad for making
No,
fun of
no,
you?
no, no, no.
Okay.
It's more about consumerism and that. I saw the pot that it's in right there, and I was like, oh, I love that pot. And then I saw the plant that was there, and I was like, oh god, I have to have that too.
Yeah, so you fell for the mannequin in the window.
I did, and I bought them together. And then guess what happened when I looked at the price of the plant? It said 50% off, and I was like, oh my gosh. It used
This
to
is
be
a deal.
It used to be 120, but now Jake Ernst is getting it for 60.
This was 120. People
listen,
buy this fake plant at 120.
yes, they do.
You could buy a real plant for that amount. Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
That's wild.
Okay, moving on to a
That is as
different
hot
conversation.
takey as I'm ever gonna
I
get.
love it. I mean, if anything, you want to create rage content on the internet for it,
Yeah.
it's got to be fake
You
plants.
got to engage to enrage,
That's
or
so
wait,
true.
you got to enrage to engage.
Enragement gets engagement.
Are we back?
See,
Did we clap?
I think I'm here. Are you?
Oh yeah. I'm here.
Hello, hi.
Hi, are we back? Okay, speaking
I'm
of
just
real,
really struggling to find you right now.
Yeah, I can't see you. I can't access you. I don't know. Like, as a Gemini with like a Virgo moon rising, I don't often talk to Taurus with a celestial Pisces moon.
Grant, clip that. Thank you. Okay.
I overheard someone having that conversation with someone at a coffee shop, and I was like, that is my... Never mind, I'm not going to say it.
That is my enragement gets engagement.
Yeah, that's my enragement gets engagement.
Moment right now. Yeah.
That is wild. This is so goofy. Anyways,
Okay, take
you
us
like
to
what
it.
you like.
Yeah, take us to it.
Okay, speaking of fake and real, I want to talk about documentaries,
Okay.
just in general. I'm actually working on a documentary project right now, so it's top of mind. And I know you, and you're not a scripted girly. You like your documentaries.
I do.
You like your docuseries.
I do.
So I kind of wanted to just maybe explore today, what is it about it, like, and with you, I don't know the answer, but I thought it'd be really cool if we kind of talk about, like, I can kind of share a little bit about the behind the scenes of what goes into, like, the considerations that go into documentary filmmaking. And then you, as not only as someone who loves them, but also as someone who understands, like, emotions, like, what is it about this technique that allows us to like that thing? Because, and I will stand by this, there actually is a skill and an expertise that goes into making these things, right? Like, a lot of this stuff is by design
See,
to make you feel that way.
I know that because
Yeah.
I've watched you work for a long time now.
Yeah.
So I know how hard it is, and
Yeah.
that has given me much more of an appreciation
For when you watch stuff.
for documentary filmmaking because, yeah, I mean, I think there's let's create a spectrum, right?
Yeah.
There's maybe one side of this, which is home movies and really raw footage.
Yep.
But then there's sort of the other side, which is like really well shot, really well researched, really like deep dive kind of documentaries about real life and real things that happen. And I'm so fascinated by that.
Yeah.
That's why I like it.
And that's by design.
Yeah.
Like, none of that is by accident.
What's the design? Like, what are the features of design?
Well, let's talk about the camera.
Okay.
Like, when you're watching a documentary, think about it right now. Out of all the documentaries I've ever seen, what do you notice about the camera?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's moody.
Mm-hmm.
It's well lit.
Mm-hmm.
I've never,
Mm-hmm.
like been watching a documentary and haven't admired
Yeah.
like, oh wow, that's really well shot.
Like you like how that's shot.
Yes.
Have you seen? So I would put that. Those are great answers. I would put those in the bucket of like lighting and like the cinematography behind it. Right. Have you watched documentaries that have varied degrees of like quality? Like
Yeah.
sometimes they're really well shot, and sometimes they're kind of a little bit more like rough and ready.
Yes, I love the rough and ready ones too.
I was gonna say, do you feel like one is better than the other?
Okay. There is this there's a documentary on Netflix that I just watched called Trust Me,
Mm.
The False Prophet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this woman and her husband, very rough and ready.
Mm-hmm.
Husband is carrying the camera and
Mhm.
following her around into
Mhm.
this LDS community.
Yeah.
And it is so fascinating.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm drawn in
Yeah.
is because it is gripping. It
Okay.
is like Blair Witch Project kind of gripping.
Okay. Let's talk about that. So the camera.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what do you like about the fact that it sounds like it's like rough and ready.
It feels like I'm there.
It feels like you're there.
It feels like I'm in it
That is by design.
and traveling with them. Like
Perfect.
I'm coming along
Yeah.
for the journey
Yeah.
in a way that doesn't feel iPhone.
Yeah.
Or doesn't feel made for TikTok content.
Yeah.
I think that's separate. I don't necessarily love the like really fake version of content creation that
Mhm.
is meant to draw you in because they have an attention grabber at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey, you probably didn't know this, but
Yeah.
come with me and I'll show you
Yeah. Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's very real. And I kind of
Yeah.
like that.
So that style of filmmaking, like there's different words for it. Like verite is a version of it where you just kind of feel like you're a fly on the wall.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There's
I love that.
also that like Blair Witch style where it's like, oh, it feels like home footage, like I have a camcorder, and it's so interesting because the reason why I love documentaries so much is because you can have such a spectrum in like the camera style, but that style, when it comes to a scripted thing, there's less flexibility. It feels as though, right? Like if you were to watch a film that was filmed with just like home footage and it was just kind of like rough and ready and, you sometimes saw the camera crew and stuff, like you'd be pulled out of the world in most. Like imagine Captain America, whatever Marvel Universe movie was shot that way, right?
Yeah,
Like that would feel
right.
very different. Like
Right.
it would feel like it would take you out of the world, right?
The other thing I really love too is the narrative driven stuff. Like
Yeah.
that there's sort of this story unfolding in real time
Mm-hmm.
that feels really interesting.
Yeah.
The thing I think for me sometimes with sitcoms or even some movies or TV shows that have a plot line,
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like the time jump is a bit too hard for me to wrap my brain around. I think that is why sometimes I have a hard time following
Yeah. Yeah.
them or really attaching to it.
Yeah.
But I feel like if in documentary, like there is a narrative and a
Yeah.
storyline that they can paint so clearly and vividly.
Yeah. And it's unfolding live in front of you versus like over like a script. I'll pull back the curtain for a second. So
Yeah.
being a director, because I've done both, right? The approach is not vastly different, but it's different styles of directing. So for documentary, when you're going in to craft a story, most of the time you don't know where it's going. You have ideas, right? Like you have your tent poles, like it's going to probably be about this, but because it's so live and happening in front of you, like the documentary we're talking about, you don't know how people are going to react.
Yes.
You don't know what situation is going to unfold. You don't know the environment that you're going to be in. You don't know if that moment you're going to capture is going to be at the end of the day and they're in the car and you just tried to get this like real good, interview and you weren't able to get it. But then this person is now reflecting on the fact that they just had this day and they're just sitting in the car and it starts to rain. And for some reason, the rain triggers this like reflective mood and now they start talking.
Whoa.
Right?
Yeah.
It is exciting. It is so exciting to be like on the other side of that because you are following the story as it unfolds. With scripted, you know how the story is going to end. It's scripted.
So answer me this.
Yeah.
Is there ever a feeling in documentary filmmaking
Mm-hmm.
that it sometimes feels icky because it feels exploitative?
Yes.
Help me understand that, because I know
Yeah.
you're not that person,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that's also not why you got into it. You didn't get
not
in.
at all.
And it's also not investigative journalism, right?
No.
It's not journalism.
No.
Those are different in very key
Very different.
ways.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that kind of exploitation?
Yeah, I would say investigative journalism is you're going in because you have a hardcore mission or like a something that you're trying to like get, right? Like there's almost like that gotcha quality to it.
Gotcha, yeah.
For at least my style, every documentary is different, whatever. For my style, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in sort of setting up the environment to see what unfolds. But I'm not without knowing that if I put like, you know, fire and ice together, that it's going to melt.
Right.
Like, you know that this plus this is going to probably equal this reaction, and then I'm going to capture it on camera. So to answer your question about exploitation, it's a really large ongoing conversation about the ethics of filmmaking, especially as a director. I'll speak for mine because I can't speak for everyone. But I will say it is always a conversation I have with the subjects who will be, and I mean subjects in just like the word of it, is like the person who's going to be in front of camera, because often the person that you're talking to, it's often their story or they're part of this larger story. And to me, I remind myself that these are real people. So if I'm going in and I'm going to have a conversation with you where eventually we're going to get to some really, really hard stuff, I get to, at the end of this, go, cut. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye. But the wound is open for you. And now you have to spend the rest of the day, your week, your month thinking about everything that I just brought up for you.
This is so similar to therapy.
I was just going to say.
In very key ways they're different, but it comes back to relationship.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
It is.
It comes
When
back
you're
to
in the
forming-
chair.
Yeah.
When you're in that chair, I think this is the closest that you and I do similar work. Because when I'm in that, I'm not providing therapy, right? But when I'm in that chair, I literally feel as though I'm a vessel for whatever's happening, and I'm tracking every single thing, like emotionally, what is being said, what's not being said. And sometimes I'm like, okay, you're still nervous. We're gonna warm up a bit. But I'm not telling you that. I'm gonna ask you questions. Sometimes I feed you some of my energy because you're so nervous, for example. And other times I'm like, okay, we're going into this territory. Should I go deeper? I'm not sure. Let's pull back a bit. Let me ask a different question.
It is so similar.
And then we come back to that, and I'm like, okay, now it's time to go deeper. And now it's time to go deeper. But the ethics, to bring it back to the ethics question, I always like to do pre-interviews when possible, right? Because sometimes you can't control it. And sometimes it's very like, I've done ones where it's like, you're live. Like I've done like a thing in like Jamaica where we were going to different like safe houses for like LGBTQ plus people.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And I wasn't able to have pre-interviews just by the nature of it, right? Because there was a security risk and all of this stuff. But when I got there, what I essentially sort of set up this thing of like, I always say this, where it's like, I'm the passenger. You were the driver. So if we are driving down the country road and I'm like, do you want to turn right? And you say, no, great, we'll keep going. I'll turn left then.
Love that.
That's my job as a director. And the ethics component of it is that it is a huge responsibility to be the person to open someone up, take their story, and then like mix it all up and make a story. Documentary filmmaking, to its core, is exploitive. You can put all the ethics in place. It's exploitation.
Is it though? Because it is. But
I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it could be the worst form of exploitation. But at the end of the day, it is still a form of exploitation, because then when I take the interviews, or I take this and this and this, I'm piecing together and crafting a story.
But maybe it's extractive by nature.
Yeah.
But exploitation, I think, has a power dynamic to it, right? I think.
But it does, though, right? Like, because I'm in a power position throughout this whole process, right? Like I'm not a therapist, but I imagine it's very similar when someone comes to you and is being vulnerable in front of you, and I have the power to do whatever I want with that story that you share.
But interesting, right? Because I think the ways that we're similar is that our ethics do guide us in terms of how we handle it with care.
Yeah.
And of course, beyond ethics, but like me as a person, right? I'm not in that room to exploit people or extract information just for the point of doing so. But I'm thinking about another concept called containment, that in my work with my clients, it is my job
Yeah.
in that room to contain what is in that room. And similar to what you said, that sometimes if you pick too much or open too much,
Yeah.
then they leave feeling uncontained.
Yeah.
And so our work in the 50 minutes that we work with clients is to contain
Yeah.
what comes up
Yeah.
or how it's processed, right? And sometimes we get it right and sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes we know and sometimes we don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes we know people are leaving with a big emotional toll and sometimes we don't, and they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder with you, you probably still have practices in place
Mm-hmm.
to ensure that that containment happens
Mm-hmm.
so that it doesn't become exploitative.
Yeah.
Or too exploitative to the point where someone feels icky about what happened.
Yeah. I do.
Ooh.
I do. And part of my process, I don't have like cool buzzy words or like specific tactics like
Yeah.
that you would maybe have, right? But for me, it's I do a lot of pre with them before we go in. So when they're in front of the chair and I'm talking to them for the first time, it's not the first time I'm talking to them.
Yes.
Because
Right.
that's trust building,
Yes.
right? But it's also I give them the roadmap. I give them the roadmap before. Because if I said, Jake, I'll have an interview about this like XYZ topic, you don't know what I'm going to ask you. And that's on purpose. Like I shouldn't be telling you what my questions are because I don't need you to prepare. But what I can do is I can give you a roadmap. We're going to be talking about your book. We're going to be talking about the process. We're going to talk about the inspiration. And then we're going to talk about what's next. I just give you the roadmap. And then I say, if we touch on a topic that you don't want to go into, just tell me and we won't go there.
I could
You know?
talk about this for such a long time because one of the other questions I have is, and this isn't a judgment, it's more of just curiosity.
Yeah.
Like what kind of person
Mm.
says yes to these experiences? I think about like if something hard happened,
Yeah.
or if I was the victim of something, or if I was the subject of something,
Yeah.
and then a documentary film crew approached me and said, hey, can we kind of cover this?
Yeah.
I think my first answer would be no.
Yeah.
It would sort of be like I'd like to do this alone, please.
Yeah.
So there is sort of that layer too that I
Yeah.
ask myself is who is this for, and what do people kind of think going into it versus what they feel coming out of it?
I will say I don't know the answer to that
Of
because
course,
I'm
'cause there's
also
not.
marveled at like why some people agree to do this because
Yeah.
I feel like maybe because I know how the sausage is made, I
Right.
would be like I wouldn't want to do that, but I'm also I think people are inherently curious people,
Yeah.
and I think people have a lot of stories to tell and to
Mhm.
share. So I think if you give people the opportunity to share their story in an environment that feels as safe as it possibly could be, they will.
Love it.
And if I have to convince someone to be part of it, because remember, these are people who are, we haven't even talked about, like sometimes you have to interview people who are ethically, you are not aligned with them. Values wise, you are not aligned with them. And that's a whole other like approach.
Where the goal is maybe to be neutral so that you
Yeah.
can still
Yeah. I have to kind of
Listen
put
and
my
be there.
personal beliefs, values, just over here, and I have to be a container. I have to be a neutral vessel. It is really hard work. And I know you do. You know this work, right? When
Yeah.
people come to you with really
Yeah.
challenging things. But what's I would say number one, I think most people, when given the opportunity, they will share their story. And if you have to do a little bit of convincing, I always think when I'm doing anything documentary, I always think like, what is the larger impact of this? Like, why now? Why this? How is this contributing to the culture? Because I'm not interested in just like doing like a hype piece about something, or just like, using this ability to connect with people and to craft a story and to form an aesthetic and to create a really entertaining piece of work that then you could walk away from that changed, learning something, or just maybe you shift it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want to use those skills and talents that I have on something that's not going to contribute to the conversation in a meaningful way. So that's just like a personal mandate.
I think
So
that's so important.
So I'm always looking for like the greater, like why now and why me?
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing we talk a lot about in whenever you're kind of like pitching documentaries or you're, going to the buyers. The number one question that they often ask you, or one of the top three, is access. And why you? So why do you have access to something, a someone, a community? And why does it have to be you that has to tell the story? And that consideration I am not as heavily scrutinized about that when I'm doing scripted work. And I think that's important. That's an important distinction.
I mean, yeah. There's so many different directions I could go here because it's
Yeah.
like I get asked the same questions in my work, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, you're not a parent. Like, how can you work or know things about kids?
Yeah.
Or even being a male therapist, like there are certain considerations, right, that go into will someone feel safe with
Yeah.
me versus someone else?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
That is.
This is like the most overlappy thing of our
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
of our own worlds.
And I think we've
But yeah.
touched a little bit on it, but like we haven't really given the space for it. So I'm glad that
Yeah.
you brought it to the table. This is
One final thing I will say to wrap this up is the whole reason why I wanted to bring this to the table was because when you're watching a documentary and you're having like an emotional connection to something, that like that vulnerability is crafted, right? And I don't mean that in like a disingenuous, artificial way. I hope you hear all of the work from the director's side of what goes in to ensure that what you're witnessing is tried and true, because that doesn't happen by mistake.
totally.
That is part of the craft of it, is to make it feel real. But in order for it to make it feel real, it has to be real. Versus in a scripted world, I feel like a lot of it is like fake, but I want you to believe this world that I'm creating.
Yeah.
Do you see like the subtle shift in it?
Well, yeah, because you're playing with intensity. You're playing with the different pacing of
Mhm.
storylines.
Yeah.
You're playing with the arcs
Yeah.
and maybe the POV of the viewer versus the subject.
And even the container, think of like the camera work and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like that plays into it. That helps you believe. And maybe we'll talk about this at one point, but like, again, like that is on purpose because we make those subconscious connections that this is a home video, or this is not, this isn't a carefully curated conversation. It's more handheld. It's more human. It's the mistakes are part of the aesthetic.
Yeah.
You know, it moves in a way that like feels like very close to how my eye looks out into the world and sees the world, and what I'm seeing in the documentary looks like how it looks like when I look out into the world. Like that's all on purpose.
Yeah.
Because that's to make, I think, that initial barrier of like, well, I'm gonna sit down and watch something.
Oh, I love that.
It's like these are all the skills and the considerations that go into like how can I make the audience like connect to this story quickly, so that then we can like go deeper.
And sister, you are so good at that.
Thank you.
Oh no, I am.
Thank you.
I am a
There's
receiver.
chatty girl.
I am a receiver.
Yeah.
I want to just like absorb the way you work and how you
Mhm.
do it, because I know you handle it with so much care, and I know
Yeah.
you're not the person to be in that place of exploitation, but I know I know that's a consideration for you.
Always.
Just-
And I don't always get it right, but I try.
But let's weave these together. Would you always want to get it right? Would you always want to be the person that has to be the like I'm perfect, or I'm
I see what
the
you're doing.
best and
You are
amazing?
threading section 1 with section 2.
Well, it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Like I know humans have that pressure. We face that, you and
Mhm.
I.
Yeah.
As sisters, but
Mhm.
I love the messiness of it, and I think
too.
the extremes that we're painting here
Mm-hmm.
are important, which is that authenticity matters a lot. Being
Mhm.
genuine in our
Mhm.
approach really matters.
Yeah.
And naturally, relationships, whether it's in a documentary, an AI
Yeah.
relationship, or in real life, like we
Mhm.
want to have something there to hold on to.
Yeah.
Which is that stuff in between people
Mhm.
that we grapple with all the time.
I'm going to add one final thing to that. I also think that we as humans, subconsciously or not, know when it's human and when it's not. And I think we know when something feels human, it most likely is. And there is a level of nutrients that we receive from that interaction or whatever it may be, that when it's not human, we know when it's the difference. We may not be able to name it. We can definitely feel it. I'm confident that most of us can feel it.
And I think that's what we're doing here, right? Hanging on to what's human.
Yeah.
We try.
So watch more documentaries
Yeah. Stream This Isn't Therapy
on
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 YouTube.
the documentary channel.
on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you get your little things. Ready Player One.
Ready Player 2.
Okay, so in every single last segment, we like to just come up for a breath of fresh air.
Oh my God, this is
Sometimes we get a little bit heady and a little bit complicated in our conversations, but we like to resurface. And so we do that by polling the audience. You send us your questions and you come back to us with something that's on your mind. Question, a query, a quandary. Something that is just on your lips. And we get to answer it like friends, not like a therapist, not like an expert in filmmaking.
No.
But just as two people who really want to help and want to care about your well-being.
Yeah.
So
I love that we never have an intro from this.
And listen, I love that it's raw.
Me
and
too.
unfiltered.
I'm like words that I'm putting together and asking for a friend.
Cue music. I love how whatever I just did was probably no different than what you just did.
Yeah.
Which is that you did a bunch of jumble mumble and then said asking
For a friend. And that's it.
Listen, we get there no matter what.
And that's what's important.
That's
it's
what's important.
Actually, it's all about the journey anyways.
It's all about the journey.
It's all about the journey anyways. All right. So today's asking for a friend is very, we said we were going to resurface and we're not. So get ready. Okay, for real. When is it okay to use chat? And when is it better to like ask a person or just Google it and research? Feels confusing to know if AI is good or not.
Holy Hannah.
I know it is confusing.
It is confusing. Let's just like stay there.
Yeah.
It's confusing and
okay, wait. Can I when
it just is.
Maybe I don't because I don't think either of us want to be the expert and like use it for this and use it for that.
I mean,
maybe share or do you want to?
I mean, not in this here now moment, but
Right.
I do know some things about what is.
Do you want to talk about that?
No, not
great.
in this segment.
Great. So then I would suggest then maybe we share what are some of the ways that you use AI.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll share mine.
Okay, so here's the thing. In this conversation about AI, I'm so much more interested in telling you when I don't use it and what I don't use it for.
Yeah.
I'll answer your question.
Yeah.
I think I mostly use it as this like really powerful expert Google. But we're reaching this point in AI where we're kind of reaching the limit of what it knows. And so the one area where I'm like, okay, this is not a use case because it doesn't really help me is creativity.
Yeah.
It's not a creative outlet.
Yeah.
And so I find that like when I'm creating and I'm making, I find my brain to be such a more reliable source of that. And I treat the same as like social. So I don't use it for social AI. I don't use it for creativity.
Yeah.
I'll sometimes use it to help me understand a definition of something. So like in my work, there's a lot of psychological concepts that from time like have just come with us in our profession. So sometimes I'll use it that way. There are some therapists who also use it for case formulation. I don't like to use it that way.
What is that? What does that mean?
To be able to sort of give a bit of like a client narrative, they input it into AI and then AI tells them like, here's what you should be thinking about. Kind of like clinical supervision that we receive. But I personally, I don't put any client information into AI because that's in my view not ethical. I hope that would be in many people's view.
Yeah.
But I find that I mostly use it for a more convenient superpower of Google that just gives me one answer versus 100 links.
Totally.
I just don't have a need for it. I might have a different need for it when it becomes agentic, when it starts to do things for you.
Yeah.
For example, like ordering groceries to my door. But I don't know. I like grocery shopping. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What
Okay,
about you?
so you're in the messy middle a little bit.
What about you? Yeah.
I would say, okay, so I don't know when's good AI, when's bad AI. I would say like our answers are similar. I would say where I find it actually the most helpful is like, just for example, I was like putting together like a treatment for like an application for funding, and I needed like case examples of like films that were like the film that I was putting out, and I needed to know box office numbers. I needed to know like all these stats.
Right.
And I was like, what would happen if I put this into a AI thing? and it was able to give me a very succinct with sources. And I was like, great, that would have taken like forever for me to figure out like
Yeah.
what's the box office numbers, how much, like all of those technical things. I was like, okay, that felt like a useful use of this tool to sort of like shorten that like grind research work, which to me, the process of researching wasn't going to be informative. Like I wasn't going to learn anything from it. It was just more grunt work.
Yeah. I think that's a good word. It's a tool.
Yeah.
Right? It should be used as a tool to enhance
Yeah.
something or make something more efficient,
Yeah.
not to take things away
Mm-hmm.
or skills away from you.
Totally. I started to see when people email me using AI
I
because I
noticed
can
that too.
hear it and you can see it, and
I
'cause
noticed
it
that
all
too.
starts to sound the same.
But here's my question
I don't
about
know.
that, because I have noticed that as well, especially on like LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You can see like you can kind of feel like
Yeah.
but I wonder if that might also be, to reference our episode from a little bit ago around cognitive bias.
Mm.
That might also be a recency bias, right? Like, for example, AI is only that good because writing is that good. AI is only that good because there is that information already out there. And so I think about a word, the M dash. Maybe that's a good example.
Yeah. Yeah. Where you can
Right?
see
Like
it.
when you write with an M dash, that is not automatically an indicator that you are using AI.
Yeah.
But now it has become a
I know.
signal.
I use it all the time. I used to use it all the time.
I used to use it all the
Yeah.
time. And in my writing, if you go back to my writing from like 2022, 23,
Yeah.
I've been using M dashes, but like now I'm reticent to use them because of that reason, which is that I don't want people to think that this is written by a robot,
Yeah.
right? Because we have these signals now that we associate with AI,
Yeah.
right? There are certain, I don't know any off the top of my head, but there are certain words that AI kind of favors, for example, and uses more of them. I would hate for in my writing someone to see me using that verbiage and then
Yeah.
automatically just make an assumption based off of these little signals that we've
Yeah.
created. But in any case, I do know what you mean around being able to spot content written by AI.
Yeah.
To me, I think it is more of an intellectual thing.
Mm.
I see some people using it or posting about it, and I'm kind of like, that's not your voice.
Yeah.
You didn't write that.
But then okay, wait. Well, this is the end segment. Never mind. I'm not gonna add a new. I'm not gonna add a new question.
But
We're
in,
supposed to resurface.
but in any case, it's
Yeah.
yes, it's so confusing.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
So when to use it, when not to use it. I think when it's starting to supplement like human social interaction, that's my big indicator that like, I don't know. Like advice giving is kind of my personal like,
Oh yeah.
like
for
ask,
me,
what should I do in this situation? That's my personal like, we're not going to use AI for that.
For me,
We're gonna
there's like
try to go to a
Yeah.
friend or a family member, even though it's uncomfortable, because I think being uncomfortable and asking these questions to people is important.
And I
don't
also
know.
just kind of wonder about like. Anyway, again, we're wrapping this up, but if you,
We literally have one foot out the door.
oh yeah, we're
And
like, no guys,
no,
no, we're
this is like
leaving, I
literally
promise."
every single my partner will attest to this. Every time when my family gets together, like the Italian side of my family, saying goodbye is like an hour long.
You're like, okay, it's
because
time.
you are saying goodbye and
You're-
leaving, and you're talking. You have your coat on.
You're slow
You're still
walking.
talking, and you're walking. Oh, let me go get you something, and then go get it, and then you have the food, and like, hold on, and you have your coat on for like an hour.
But you're
before
giving
you
the
actually leave.
signals to leave. You're like, yeah,
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you keep trying
no,
to leave.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
not that you're trying.
Yeah,
You're
no,
just
yeah.
both. You're doing this, and that's what
Yeah.
we're doing.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah. Anyways, and you have like you're still in the car talking.
Anyways,
Like I've literally have had conversations still, like as I'm in the car in the driver's seat with the window down, being like, with the car running, being like, and then be like, all right, bye.
you watched me walk to my car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Anyways, let's just wrap up.
let's just wrap
let's
it
just
up.
wrap up.
Hard stop. Okay.
Thank you all for being here.
We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Asking for friend, submit, opening thing in our thing.
He's still doing
Follow our
it.
thing.
He's still doing
Subscribe
it.
our things.
He's still
Like the
doing
things.
it.
We'll see you when we see
He's
you.
still doing it.
Jazz hands.
Oh, and one more thing.
And one more thing. All right, bye.
Bye.
This isn't therapy.
Cannot believe. A West Elm fake plant, Jake.